on in. My name is Dana. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm actually starting my first cooking video. I'm so excited. So glad you can join me. Today we're going to be making two really easy recipes. I'm going to start out easy. First we're going to make something called a dump cake. Sounds a little silly, but it's actually in the name. You're basically going to take all your ingredients and dump them into a pan and bake them. I'll talk about that in a second. Number two, we're going to make a cocktail to go with our dessert. So these two recipes are really, I would think, something that you would want to make in a pinch. So let's say you're invited to go to a cookout or a friend's party or something, and you're in charge of bringing a dessert, but you just don't have the time. This would be a really great recipe. It includes fruit, it's tangy, it's sweet, and it also has some nuts for crunch, but also adds to the flavor. It is delicious. This is something my mom would make for us, but I honestly was trying to think of, did she make it for a certain holiday? Did she make it at a certain time of the year? I really couldn't think about that. So I feel like this is a versatile dessert. It's something you can definitely bring to a holiday party because it does have some fruits and nuts, and it's warm and it's tangy and it's delicious. And it's definitely a crowd pleaser. I think everyone would really enjoy it. And then number two, the cocktail that I'm going to make is going to have similar flavors and will go with the dessert. So it's something that you can bring along if you like, or separately. It's also something you could probably serve at the holidays or serve at a summer party. It is a punch, so you definitely can serve it any time of the year. So let's get started. I have my oven preheated to 350 degrees. I have a, the recipe calls for a 9 by 12 inch pan. I'm using a 9 by 13 just because that's what I had at home. We literally have 5 ingredients for this. And again, there's no mixing bowls. It's not a lot of work. It's gonna be super easy. Again, it's called a dump cake, and I'm sure there's different recipes and you can use different ingredients. This is just the recipe that I grew up with. So let's get started. First, you're gonna need a stick of butter so you can butter your pan. Of course, I can open this first, so. I could assume you probably could use a spray on this too. I'm just gonna follow the recipe just to make sure I'm doing it correctly. Again, this is me trying this for the first time, so I think I'm actually gonna call a lot of my segments Dana Tries It, because I've never tried this before. So I'm very much a try a recipe and then see if I need to adapt anything kind of person. I'm also not shy of using boxed and canned ingredients, which we're gonna do today. I do love fresh ingredients too, but again, this is like if you're in a pinch. So go ahead and rub your stick of butter all along your pan because you don't want your ingredients to stick and you want to be able to take it out easily and serve it easily. That's enough butter, so we're gonna put a little bit more butter in there. I'm gonna set this stick aside. We are gonna need 2 more sticks of butter for the topping, but I just used one around the pan. I'm sure you can use this too, but I just wanna make sure we have the right ingredients. Okay, so the next step is to take a can of crushed pineapple and you're going to dump it in your cake pan and you're going to spread it out, okay? Include the juices in there too. Very, very easy. Okay, I just stuck my stuff in the middle. I'm going to grab a spoon. 1 second. Okay. And I'm just going to kind of make sure this is spread out along the bottom. So every piece has some pineapple in it. And again, it's very tangy because you have pineapple. You also have cherries, which we're gonna put in next. And so it has that tangy element, but when it cooks with all the other ingredients, it does become very sweet, not too sweet, not overly sweet, but it does become, like the pineapple itself becomes a little more sweet. All right, so on my pan, I have all my crushed pineapple. I used 1 whole can. This was 20 ounces. I believe that's just the regular size that you would find in the store. Next, we're going to take This is 1 cup of cherry pie filling, as you can see right there. Again, I got it just in the can. I'm going to just kind of spread this around. So again, every piece sort of has a little bit of that cherry pie filling. If I dump it in the middle, it might be a little hard to spread out over that pineapple. Okay. This is so yummy. This brings me back to my childhood. It's one of my first, I chose it as one of my first recipes because not only is it easy, but I've really been craving this and been wanting to try it. I've never made it before. Again, I have tried it because my mom used to make this a lot. And I love it. So now you have the pineapple, you have the cherries. Very summery is what I think of. But again, around the holidays, you can definitely serve this because you have that cherry pie filling. You're also going to have a cake topping to it. So it does turn out to be sort of a cake too. All right, so there's my cherry pie filling. I spread it around. I'll give you guys a little look if I can. I am a one-woman operation here today. I'm just using, it's just me and my iPad. I'm trying to work things out. I'm trying to figure things out. Should I use this equipment, that equipment? So I just decided to go easy today and just use my iPad. So we'll see how it turns out. All right, so that was 1 cup of cherry pie filling. And you kind of want to spread it around just like that, okay? Again, you don't want to just plop it in the middle so that the middle only gets that cherry pie filling. You want to spread it around so everybody gets a little taste of it. The next step is to take a box of yellow cake mix. Any yellow cake mix will do. Now with this cake mix, again, this is very easy. I'm actually going to just keep it in the box. I'm not going to do anything to it. I am going to be careful and spread it again all over the pan, okay? Again, we don't want to just plop it in the middle. It just won't cook evenly, okay? So you're just going to take your cake mix and just shake it over the pie filling and the pineapple. I'm going to get this spoon out of the way. Oh my gosh, I can taste this right now. It's so delicious and it's so easy. You would think, oh my God, I have to mix all these ingredients. Is it gonna cook? Again, this is me trying it. So my mom has made it many times. I mean, since I was a kid. So I'm pretty confident this will turn out the way I want it to. And you'll have enough cake mix to go back and forth, and you want to dump out that whole cake mix. Okay, I'm actually gonna take the bag out. There we go. Just to see how much more I have. And where it needs some, let me go along the sides. There we go. I'm actually gonna kind of dump it in the middle and then spread it out with my hand a little bit. Just gonna take my hand so it's nice and flat and even. A nice even dessert. All right, guys, so this is what your cake should kind of look like at this point. Has that nice cake mix on top. Again, we did a layer of crushed pineapple, cherry pie filling, 1 cup of that cherry pie filling, and then a box of yellow cake mix. The next step, we're gonna use 2 sticks of butter, and we are going to cut them. But now, we're not gonna cut them in little cubes. We're actually gonna cut them the long way. And I think that helps to sort of melt the butter evenly on the top. So I'm actually going to move this cake pan to the side just so you can see what I'm doing here. So you're gonna take your butter and you're going to cut it the long way. And now my butter is chilled. I didn't really take it out too early. And that'll help you to cut it too. And then I'm gonna take my slice of butter and just put it in my pan. And again, you're using 2 sticks of butter, so you should be able to cover your cake pan. And I'm just using some pretty thin slices. I think I'll get about 4 slices out of this. Just some chunks of butter. That slice didn't cut all the way. Put that together. Again, I've never seen my mom actually make this, so I'm hoping I'm doing this the right way, but honestly, it's so simple and easy that I don't think we can really mess it up. Okay, just big chunks of butter, and then This last one, I'm gonna attempt to cut it in half and get 5 slices actually. I also don't want to cut it too thin. There we go. Another chunk. And I'll just use this piece here actually. So about 1 stick of butter covered the front part of my pan. So the other stick will definitely cover the back part of my pan here. So 2 sticks should be more than enough. So I do have my pan here and there's my sticks of butter. I just made sure the whole layer was pretty much covered with the sticks of butter. Okay. The last ingredient is, now in the recipe it says crushed nuts, so you can pick whatever you want. When I went to the store, I saw chopped nuts and I also saw pecan pieces, which were really tiny pieces. So I was about to get those, but I know that my mom usually makes this with walnuts and I love how pecans cook up too, so totally fine. But I just love that I just wanted the same flavor, if that makes sense. So I ended up with chopped walnuts. Now 2 different brands had different sizes of chopped walnuts. One had bigger pieces, one had smaller pieces. So I went with the smaller pieces. I don't know if you guys can see that. So they're pretty chopped, crushed. I'm sure you can crush these more if you wanted to put them between wax paper and crush them with a rolling pin. But again, that's another step, so I'm not gonna take that step. Also, these are pretty bite-sized, right? So we just don't want whole nuts where you're just gonna have to chomp through them and they're not gonna cook evenly through your dish, okay? So I'm just gonna sprinkle these on top. And if you can't find crushed nuts at the store, I would just go with those. But again, chopped seems to be okay. I'm gonna make sure, I'm actually gonna use my hand just to make sure it's evenly spread apart. Definitely want everyone to have all the ingredients when they eat this. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. All right, guys. So again, just spread your, whatever nuts you choose. There's not a specific one that you have to use. And just spread them evenly on top of the butter across the pan. If you wanted to use a little bit more, you can use a little bit more too. I'm just, again, gonna go with what the recipe says, but there you go. There's our finished product before it goes in the oven. So I'm going to bake this in a 350-degree oven that's already preheated. I already preheated my oven for 1 hour, okay? So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna pop this in the oven. I'm gonna set it for 1 hour. I'm gonna wash my hands and set up for our cocktail. We're going to make a punch, but the actual recipe for the punch is non-alcoholic, but I'm going to booze it up. So what's really nice about this is you can make this non-alcoholic and alcoholic if you wanted to serve both at a party for kids or people who don't drink alcohol. Or you could just bring the boozy one to your party too, whatever you like. So I will try to keep the recipe, all the ingredients that are not alcoholic to go first. And then second, I will add the alcohol last. All right, guys, I just put my cake in the oven for 1 hour at 350 degrees. It is already smelling delicious in here. While that is baking, I thought we can make a cocktail to go along with it, because who doesn't love a cocktail? Or some punch at a holiday party or a summer bash or lounging around on the weekend. So what's nice about this recipe is it did start off as a non-alcoholic punch recipe. My version of trying it is to booze it up. So I will start with the non-alcoholic ingredients, so that way if you want to leave the alcohol out of it, you can, and it will still be awesome and delicious. And I will add the alcoholic ingredients at the end if that's what you want to choose. The only thing I'm going to substitute is the pineapple juice. The recipe calls for 2 cups of pineapple juice, so if you're not using alcohol, go ahead and throw 2 cups of pineapple juice in this. I'm going to use 1 cup pineapple juice, 1 cup pineapple rum, okay? All right, so the first ingredients are 4 cups of Hawaiian punch. Now you can use any kind of Hawaiian punch that you can find. I'm using pretty much what you think of when you think of Hawaiian punch. I know there are some other companies that have amazing fruit punches, so go ahead and you can use that as well. This is a big bottle, so hopefully I don't spill. Okay. I think with the punch too, that will go really well with our cake because it has that cherry pie filling. And this kind of has that similar flavor to it. All right, so there's 1 cup. I'm gonna add 2 cups. I didn't pre-measure this out just because I wasn't sure if I was going to use all of this. But what I did before this, making this recipe, there's 2 cups. I actually measured how many cups can fit in my pitcher. So that might be something you wanna do as well. I just used water and I filled it up with all the cups that I would need just to make sure it would fit. And then also I had room for ice. So there's 3 cups. And I'm gonna add 1 more cup of Hawaiian punch. And again, if you wanna go more natural, you can find a company that makes a fruit punch. It doesn't necessarily have to be Hawaiian punch. But again, I'm going with what the recipe says. So there's 4 cups of Hawaiian punch. The next part of this is 2 cups of pineapple juice if you are making it non-alcoholic. If you're making it alcoholic, I'm going to use 1 cup of pineapple juice. I pre-measured this one because it was in a can, so it was a little awkward to pour. So 1 cup of pineapple juice. Again, if you're making it non-alcoholic, go ahead and throw 2 cups of pineapple juice in there. The next is 2 cups of cranberry juice. Get my cup out of the way. I love this because there's so many different flavors in here. And I am using a cranberry juice cocktail. Let me tell you, there's 1 cup. I was gonna make cranberry mimosas for Christmas, and I ended up buying an organic cranberry juice. And it was so tart and just personally for me undrinkable. So I decided I would never really use that again in a cocktail. But go ahead if you can, or if you like, you can use organic. I felt like it was way too tart and it really needed some sugar. So this by all means is not an organic drink. It's a very sugary drink. So I'm going all in on this. And again, at a party, you kind of want that kind of fun stuff. All right, so that was 2 cups of cranberry juice. And now I'm gonna add, oh, don't do that to me, 2 cups of ginger ale. I tell you. All right, 2 cups of ginger ale. You can use any kind of ginger ale. I'm sure a flavored ginger ale in here would be pretty yummy too. If like you wanted to use a cranberry or if you wanted to use a raspberry, I'm sure that would be fine too, but you already have a lot of flavors going on in here. And I'm gonna pour this slowly. It's gonna add a little fizz to this, which is really cool. Going back to my mom would make a punch kind of like this, a little, I think a couple different ingredients, but I remember she would add, I believe she would add ginger ale, and then she would scoop, and this was really awesome as a kid, she would put it in a punch bowl and she would scoop sorbet on the top or sherbet on the top. And it was awesome. You got this glass full of punch, but it also almost was like a float on the top too, and it was nice and creamy. It was so delicious. I might make that during the holidays. All right, so this is my 2nd cup of ginger ale. I'm so excited for this. I'm really excited to make these YouTube videos of things to try and see if I, just how it comes out. Do I love it? Okay, I just heard a car alarm. I do live in Chicago, so if you hear any sirens or background noise, that's why. All right, so again, this is our non-alcoholic version. Again, you would add 2 cups of pineapple juice instead of the 1. Now I'm going to booze it up. Now again, this is me just trying it. I'm making this part up. I'm going to add 1 cup of pineapple flavored rum. Okay. You could probably use like a coconut flavored rum. I want to smell this first. Oh yeah. That smells like real pineapple too. That's awesome. So I'm gonna add 1 cup of pineapple flavored rum. Ooh. Could you use regular rum? Yeah, sure, but I just felt like because this was a punch, the pineapple would give it some nice flavor. And we were already using pineapple juice, so it just made sense to me. The last ingredient I'm gonna pour in here is 1 cup of vodka. Sounds like a lot, but again, this probably serves at least 4 people. So you're getting a couple shots in there. of the rum and the vodka. I'm just using regular vodka. Could you use flavored vodka? Yeah, sure, if you like. That's the nice thing about punches is you can kind of do what you like. I will also link down below where I got the original recipe for, just so I can credit the people who came up, who knows if they came up with the recipe, but who I got the recipe from. Again, it was non-alcoholic when I got the recipe. And then the cake recipe was from my mom. So I'm just gonna credit her on that one. But you can Google dump cakes. I did Google them and a few recipes came up. They weren't exactly the same, so I wanted to ask her first. I love this picture because it came with a spoon. It's splashing everywhere. And I would just, again, stir it up just so all those flavors mix together. Oh my gosh, I smell the pineapple juice for sure. Now I'm gonna take just a short break. I'm gonna add some ice to my punch. I'm gonna stir it up so everything gets nice and cool. I'm gonna serve myself a glass. I'm gonna wait till my cake is done baking out of the oven. I'll probably cool it for about 10 minutes. And then serve myself a piece, and then I will try both of them in front of you. I'll let you know if I feel like anything should be adapted, if it's delicious or not. I also want to let you know that with further recipes, I will link the original recipe below, but a lot of times I try the recipe and then I might adapt something. So I'll probably try the original recipe, but then in the video I'll say, hey, maybe we can adapt it this way. It needs less of this, it needs more of this. Or if I have previously tried it, I will let you know my adaptations as well. But I always want to credit the people I got the original recipes from because I think that's really, really important. So I will be right back. Don't go anywhere, and I'll see you in a sec. All right, guys, my dump cake just came out of the oven. It is looking amazing, and it is smelling so delicious. You can, I don't know if you can see, but as I was taking it out of the oven, we got some bubbling going on here. Oh my gosh, it was so awesome, and it smells amazing. I'm gonna cut this up in a second, and we will taste it. All right, guys, my dump cake came out of the oven. It is smelling so delicious. I have a slice here to try. I also poured a glass of my cocktail. So here we go. So the dump cake, I feel like when it came out of the oven, it was nice and bubbly. I showed you guys. It also reminds me of a pie that you flipped upside down. It's kind of got that feel to it. All right, here we go. I'm so excited. It smells the same, it looks the same, exactly what I wanted. I'm gonna get a piece of the pineapple with some cherry and the nuts and the cake. What's awesome about this is that it's not a cake, it's not a pie, but it almost is like the two mixed together. So the tanginess of the pineapple and the cherries are a little bit muted because it has been baked in the oven, and it's so delicious. The cake on top gives it that sweet note, and the nuts are just, I can't even describe it. Like, the nuts are toasted, and it just has this warm kind of homey feel to me. Of course, my mom used to make this, so it reminds me of that. I'm gonna take another bite. Yeah, it's almost like the cake and the nuts make a crust on the top, and that's kind of what I'm getting from it, is that would be like the crust, and then the fruit would be the filling in the bottom. Again, it's tangy, it's sweet from the cake, and the nuts add this just toasty flavor to the top of it. I absolutely love it. I think this would be a great summertime dessert, as well as a holiday dessert, because it just gives you that home warm feeling when you're eating it. I'm gonna take one more bite. Delicious. Next, I'm gonna try the cocktail. Cheers. Wow, that is delicious. It's definitely very tangy from the pineapple juice. I get a lot of that pineapple juice. It's not super fizzy because we didn't add a ton of ginger ale. So that maybe I would balance out a little bit more, maybe cut down a cup of the Hawaiian punch and add another cup of the ginger ale. And I think with the alcohol, everything is very balanced. I was very afraid of adding a cup of vodka in there and having that be overpowering, but it is not. It's delicious. It's definitely punchy. And I think these two things go really well together. This is a little bit sweet, but like I said, with the fruit, it's not overly sweet, which is why I love this dessert. And the punch really helps to kind of balance out that sweetness. So definitely, I would definitely make this. Summer's coming up. 2 really easy recipes for you. Like I said, I will link the original recipe for the punch down below. And then I will note my adaptations or changes that I made to the recipe to add the alcohol with that as well. I hope you enjoyed this. I had so much fun making my first cooking YouTube video. I will continue to try things, so come back again for Dana Tries It. Next time I will try something new, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Stay safe. Bye, guys.